On the Isle of Anglesey is the unfinished Beaumaris Castle. Construction on the castle began in 1295 and was commissioned by the King of England, Edward I, but due to the costly wars with Scotland, Beaumaris Castle was never completed, and the spirits of those who worked on the castle are said to linger within the ruins. Although the castle was never completed, it was still an active castle, and it saw its fair share of action. It was besieged by the Welsh in 1403 and retaken by the English in 1405. Then, in the 16th century, William Davis, a Welsh Catholic priest, was held prisoner in the castle dungeon before being hung, drawn and quartered in the castle grounds in 1593. Beaumaris Castle was also used during the English Civil War to support the Royalists. The castle eventually surrendered to parliamentarian forces, which ordered it to be slighted, but this order was never carried out. The castle is a romantic ruin today and visited by thousands of tourists every year. Most of these tourists experience nothing out of the ordinary, but few claim that the castle is home to a few restless spirits. Over the years, there has been many reports of visitors hearing chanting in the chapel area, and paranormal investigators have been able to record this chanting. Along with these strange sounds, strange dark shadows have been seen floating in the corners before disappearing through walls. A group of elderly persons were taking a tour of the castle when they heard prayer-like chanting coming from the chapel. Believing that there was some show going on, they went to take a look. Upon entering the chapel area, all saw robed monks which suddenly faded from sight, though their chanting continued and sounded as though it was coming from the stone walls all around them. Gradually, this chanting faded also, but left the elderly group bewildered. Reports of distressed screams have also been heard, though these are mainly heard at night. Locals have often reported of screams coming from within the castle, and whenever anyone has gone to investigate, they find nothing to explain these screams. Some say that the screams are of past stonemasons who worked on the castle, who were killed in accidents. Others say they are the screams of William Davis as he was hung, drawn and quartered. Other unexplained noises heard are of heavy footsteps, which have been heard in other parts of the castle where no one else is around. Some visitors say that when they turn to see who is there, shadowy forms are seen moving quickly around corners, which gives off a feeling of loss and sadness. Many visitors have reported of feeling an overbearing sense of loneliness and have been at times reduced to tears with no rational explanation. A rare apparition of what has been called the Druid has been seen at multiple locations around the castle. This spirit has been described as being garbed in a green cloak and holding a skull in one hand and a staff in the other. Silently it watches visitors from the towers and has been known to follow some down corridors. Who or what this spirit may be is not known and will likely never be known. The castle's wall may offer scenic views of the interior of the castle and countryside, but they are themselves the scene of terror. Many have seen soldiers of the Civil War period patrolling along the walls. One is said to be mortally wounded and limps after visitors pleading for help. One person visiting on a quiet winter's day was walking along the wall of the outer ward when they were suddenly challenged by a figure standing atop of the southwest tower. This ghostly figure called out in an English dialect that the visitor couldn't understand, and was waving a long feather above its head. This spirit then disappeared, though the feather it was waving in the air remained for a few minutes after. Other soldiers seen are of mail-clad knights walking along the walls as if they were keeping an eye on the castle, just like they had hundreds of years ago. Given all the battles and sieges that Beaumaris Castle has seen, it is perhaps no surprise that there are reports of former prisoners' spirits lingering in the dungeons. Some visitors have reported shadowy figures in the dark corners of the castle's lower levels, and the sounds of clanking chains. Moans and groans have also been heard, along with the calls for help. Skeptics outrightly dismiss any notion of Beaumaris Castle being haunted, and state that the vast majority of those visiting the castle experience nothing paranormal. But the tales surrounding the castles continue to grow, with sightings of the unexplainable increasing with each passing year. It is perhaps fitting then that Beaumaris Castle has been named as one of Britain's most haunted castles.